Man is not the sum of what he has but the totality of what he does not yet have, of what he might have. Jean-Paul Sartre. We have come a long way together. How much farther you'll go will be your decision. This book has given you tools and skills and ideas that can change your life. But what you'll do with them is totally up to you. When you put this book down, you can feel you've learned a little something and go on as you used to. Or you can make a concerted effort to take control of your life and your brain. You can create the powerful beliefs and states that will produce miracles for you and the people you care about. But it will happen only if you make it happen. Let's review the main things you've learned. You know now that the most powerful tool on the planet is the biocomputer between your two ears. Properly run, your brain can make your life greater than any dream you've ever had before. You've learned the ultimate success formula: know your outcome, take action, develop the sensory acuity to know what you're getting, and change your behavior until you get what you want. You've learned that we live in an age where fabulous success is available to all of us, but that those who achieve it are those who take action. Knowledge is important, but it's not enough. Plenty of people had the same information as a Steve Jobs or a Ted Turner. But the ones who took action created fabulous success and changed the world. You've learned about the importance of modeling. You can learn by experience, by trial and error, or you can speed up the process immeasurably by learning how to model. Every result produced by an individual was created by some specific set of actions in some specific syntax. You can greatly decrease the time it takes to master something by modeling the internal actions, mental and external actions, physical, of people who produce outstanding results. In a few hours or a few days or few years, depending on the type of task, you can learn what took them months or years to discover. You've learned that the quality of your life is the quality of your communication. Communication takes two forms. The first is your communication with yourself. The meaning of any event is the meaning you give it. You can send your brain powerful, positive, empowering signals that will make everything work for you, or you can send your brain signals about what you can't do. People of excellence can take any situation and make it work for them. People like W. Mitchell, Julio Iglesias, Commander Jerry Coffey, who can take terrible tragedy and turn it into triumph. We can't go back in time. We can't change what actually happened. But we can control our representations so they'll give us something positive for the future. The second form of communication is with others. The people who've changed our world have been master communicators. You can use everything in this book to discover what people want so you can become an effective, masterful, elegant communicator. You've learned about the awesome power of belief. Positive beliefs can make you a master. Negative beliefs can make you a loser. And you've learned that you can change your beliefs to make them work for you. You've learned about the power of state and the power of physiology. You've learned the syntax and strategies that people use, and you've learned how to establish rapport with anyone you meet. You've learned powerful techniques for reframing and anchoring. You've learned how to communicate with precision and skill, how to avoid the fluff language that kills communication, and how to use the precision model to get others to communicate effectively with you. You've learned about handling the 5 roadblocks in the way of success. And you've learned about the metaprograms and values that serve as the organizing principles for personal behavior. I don't expect you to find yourself utterly transformed when you put down this book. Some things we've discussed will come easier to you than others. But life has a processional effect. Changes lead to more changes. Growth leads to more growth. By starting to make changes, by growing in bits and pieces, you can slowly but steadily change your life. Like the rock thrown into the still pond, you create ripples that grow larger in the future. It's often the littlest thing, viewed over time, that makes the biggest difference. Think of 2 arrows pointing in the same general direction. If you make a tiny change in the direction of one of them, if you push it 3 or 4 degrees in a different direction, the change will probably be imperceptible at first. But if you follow that path for yards and then for miles, the difference will become greater and greater until there's no relation at all between the first path and the second. That's what this book can do for you. It won't change you overnight unless you go to work on yourself tonight. But if you learn to run your brain, if you understand and make use of things like syntax, submodalities, values, and metaprograms, the differences over 6 weeks and 6 months and 6 years will change your life. Some things in this book, like modeling, you already do in some form. Others are new. Just remember, everything in life is cumulative. If you use one of the principles in this book today, you've taken a step. You set a cause in motion, and every cause creates an effect or result, and every result piles on the last one to take us in a direction. Every direction carries with it an ultimate destination. There are two things to aim at in life: first, to get what you want, and, after that, to enjoy it. Logan Pearsall Smith. Here's a final question to consider. In what direction are you presently going? If you follow your current direction, where will you be in 5 years or 10 years? And is that where you want to go? Be honest with yourself. John Nisbet once said that the best way to predict the future is to get a clear idea of what's happening now. You need to do the same thing in your life. So when you finish this book, sit down and think about the direction you're going in, and whether it's where you really want to go. If it's not, I suggest you change. If this book has taught you anything, it's the possibility of creating positive change with almost lightning speed on both a personal and a global level. Ultimate power means the ability to change, to adapt, to grow, to evolve. Unlimited power doesn't mean you always succeed or that you never fail. Unlimited power just means you learn from every human experience and make every experience work for you in some way. It is unlimited power to change your perceptions, to change your actions, and to change the results you're creating. It's your unlimited power to care and to love that can make the biggest difference in the quality of your life. I'd like to suggest another way to change your life and ensure continued success. Find a team you want to play on. Remember, we've talked about power in terms of what people can do together. Ultimate power is the power of people working together, not pulling apart. That might mean your family, or it might mean good friends. It could be trusted business partners or people you work with and care about. But you work harder and better if you're working for others as well as for yourself. You give more, and you get more. If you ask people about their richest experiences in life, they'll usually come up with something they did as part of a team. Sometimes it's literally that, a sports team they'll remember forever. Sometimes it's a business team that did something memorable. Sometimes the team is your family or your spouse. Being on a team makes you stretch, it makes you grow. Other people can nurture and challenge you in ways you can't yourself. People will do things for others they won't do for themselves. And they'll get things from others that will make it worthwhile. If you're alive, you're on some team. It can be your family, your relationship, your business, your city, your country, your world. You can sit on the bench and watch, or you can get up and play. My advice to you is to be a player. Join the hunt. Share your world. Because the more you give, the more you get, the more you use the skills in this book for yourself and for others, the more they'll bring back to you. And make sure you're on the team that challenges you. It's easy for things to get off track. It's easy to know what to do and still not to do it. That just seems to be the way life is. The normal pull of life is gravity, and that's downward. All of us have our off days. All of us have times when we don't use what we know. But if we surround ourselves with people who are successful, who are forward-moving, who are positive, who are focused on producing results, who support us, it will challenge us to be more and do more and share more. If you can surround yourself with people who will never let you settle for less than you can be, you have the greatest gift that anyone can hope for. Association is a powerful tool. Make sure the people you surround yourself with make you a better person by your association with them. Once you have a commitment to a team, the challenge of excellence is to become a leader. That can mean being the president of a Fortune 500 company, or it can mean being the best teacher you can be. It can mean being a better entrepreneur or a better parent. True leaders have a knowledge of the power of precision, a sense that great changes come from many small things. They realize that everything they say and do has an enormous power to empower and embolden others. That happened in my life. When I was in high school, I had a speech teacher who asked me to stay after class one day. I wondered what I had done wrong. He said, "Mr. Robbins, I think you have the makings of an incredible speaker, and I want to invite you to speak in competition next week with the squad from our school." I didn't think I was anything special as a speaker, but he was so strong and congruent, I believed him. His message changed my life. It led me to my profession as a communicator. He did a small thing, but he changed my life forever. The challenge of leadership is to have enough power and vision to be able to project in advance what outcome will result from your actions, large and small. The communication skills in this book offer critical ways to make those distinctions. Our culture needs more models of success, more symbols of excellence. My life has been graced by teachers and mentors who gave me things of immeasurable value. My goal in life is to give some of them back. That's what I hope this book has helped you do, and it's what I try to do in my work. My first mentor was a man named Jim Rohn. He taught me that happiness and success in life are not the result of what we have, but rather of how we live. What we do with the things we have makes the biggest difference in the quality of life. He taught me that even the smallest things could make big differences in life. For instance, he told me to always be a two-quarter person. He gave the example of a shoeshine. Let's say the shoeshine man is doing a great job. He's whistling and snapping his shoeshine rag. He's giving you great value. Jim said when you deep into your pocket to tip him, and you're not sure whether to give him 1/4 or 2, always go for the higher number. You do it not just for him, but for yourself as well. If you just give him 1/4, later in the day you'll look down and see your shoes and think, I only gave him 1/4. How could I be so cheap when he did such a great job? If you give him 2, it will affect the way you feel about yourself for the better. What if you made it a principle that every time you passed someone taking a collection for anything, you always put some money in the collection plate? What if you made an automatic commitment always to buy from a Boy Scout, Girl Scout, or whomever? What if you made it a point to call friends, every now and then, just to say, I'm not calling for any special reason, I just wanted you to know I love you. I don't want to interrupt you, I just want to communicate that to you. What if you made it a point to send little thank you notes to people who have done things for you? What if you spent conscious time and effort figuring new and unique ways to get more joy out of life by adding value to other people's lives? That's what lifestyle is all about. We all have the time. The question of the quality of life is answered by how we spend it. Do we fall into a pattern, or do we continuously work at making it unique and special? It seems like a little thing, but the effect that all these little things have on how you feel about who you are as a person is very powerful. They affect your internal representations of who you are and thus the quality of your states and life. I've kept the two-quarter commitment with myself and reaped the rewards it provides. I offer it for your perusal. I believe it's a philosophy that can enrich your life immensely if you're not already practicing it. The chemist who can extract from this heart's elements compassion, respect, longing, patience, regret, surprise, and forgiveness and compound them into one can create that atom which is called love. Khalil Gibran. My last comment is to challenge you to share this information with others for 2 reasons really. First, we all teach what we most need to learn. By sharing an idea with others, we get to hear it again and remind ourselves of what we value and believe is important in life. The other reason is there is incredible, almost unexplainable, richness and joy that comes from helping another person make a truly important and positive change in his life. I had an experience last year at one of our children's programs that I will never forget. The camps are 12-day programs during which we teach children a lot of what is discussed in this book and give them experiences that change their competency, their learning skills, and their confidence as fully alive human beings. During the summer of 1984, we ended the camp with a ceremony in which all the kids got gold medals like the ones in the Olympics. On the medals it said, "You can do magic." We didn't finish until about 2 in the morning, and it was a very joyous emotional event. I got back to my room feeling bone tired, knowing I had to be up at 6 a.m. in order to catch a plane to my next event, but also feeling the way you do when you know you've really made a day count. So I was ready to get to sleep around 3 a.m. when I heard a knock at my door. I thought, who in the world can that be? I opened the door to find a young boy there. He said, "Mr. Robbins, I need your help." I started to ask him if he could call me in San Diego the following week, when I heard this sound behind him, and there was a little girl crying her eyes out. I asked what the matter was, and the boy told me she didn't want to go home. I said to bring her in, and I'd anchor her, and she'd feel better and go home. He said that wasn't the problem. He said she didn't want to go home because her brother, who lived with her, had been sexually abusing her for the last 7 years. So I brought them both in, and using the tools we talked about in this book, I changed her internal representation of those negative past experiences so that they no longer created any pain. Then I anchored her into her most resourceful and powerful states and linked them with her now altered internal representations so that the very thought or sight of her brother would immediately put her in a state of being in charge. After the session, she decided to call her brother. She got on the phone in a totally resourceful state and woke him up. "Brother," she said in a tone he'd probably never heard before in his life. I just want you to know that I'm coming home, and you best not even look at me in a way that makes me even think you're thinking of the things you used to do. Because if you do, you'll go to jail for the rest of your life and be totally embarrassed. You will absolutely pay the price. I love you as my brother, but I will never accept those behaviors again. If I even think you're moving toward them, it's over for you. Bear in mind that I am serious. And I love you. Goodbye. He got the message. She hung up the phone, feeling totally strong and in charge for the first time in her life. She hugged her little boyfriend, and together they cried in relief. The night I worked with them, they both gave me the most incredible hugs I'd ever had. The young man said he didn't know how he could repay me. I told him that seeing the changes in her was the greatest thanks I could receive. He said, "No, I've got to pay you in some way." Then he said, "I know something that means a lot to me." He reached up and slowly took off his gold medal, and he put it on me. They kissed me and left, saying they would never forget me. I walked upstairs after they left and got into bed. My wife, Becky, who had been listening to the whole thing, was crying, and so was I. She said, "You're incredible. That child's life will never be the same." I said, "Thanks, honey, but anybody with the skills could have helped her." She said, "Yeah, Tony, anybody could have, but you did. If you could only love enough, you could be the most powerful person in the world." Emmett Fox. So that's the ultimate message of this book. Be a doer. Take charge. Take action. Use what you've learned here, and use it now. Don't just do it for you, do it for others as well. The gifts from such actions are greater than can be imagined. There are a lot of talkers in the world. There are a lot of people who know what's right and what's powerful, yet still aren't producing the results they desire. It's not enough to talk the talk. You've got to walk the talk. That's what unlimited power is all about. Unlimited power to get yourself to do the necessary things to produce excellence. Julius Erving of the Philadelphia 76ers has a philosophy of life that I think sums up the philosophy of Art Walker. It's worthy of modeling. He says, "I demand more from myself than anybody else could ever expect." That's why he's the best. There were two great orators of antiquity. One was Cicero, the other Demosthenes. When Cicero was done speaking, people always gave him a standing ovation and cheered, "What a great speech." When Demosthenes was done, people said, "Let us march," and they did. That's the difference between presentation and persuasion. I hope to be classified in the latter category. If you just read this book and think, "Wow, that was a great book, it has lots of neat tools, and don't use anything in it, we've wasted our time together." However, if you start right now and go back through this book and use it as a handbook for running your mind and body, as a guide to changing anything you want to change, then you may have begun a life journey that will make even the greatest dreams of your past seem almost trivial. I know that's what happened to me when I began to apply these principles daily. I challenge you to make your life a masterpiece. I challenge you to join the ranks of those people who live what they teach, who walk their talk. They are the models of excellence the rest of the world marvels about. Join this unique team of people known as the few who do versus the many who wish, result-oriented people who produce their life exactly as they desire it. My life is inspired by the stories of people who use their resources to create new success and achievement for themselves and others. Someday maybe I'll get to tell your story. If this book helps you move in that direction, I'll consider myself very lucky indeed. In the meantime, I thank you for your commitment to learning and growing and developing yourself, and for allowing me to share with you some of the principles that have made a difference in my life. May your hunt for human excellence be fruitful and never-ending. May you dedicate yourself, not only to strive for the goals you have set, but to meet them and set even more, not only to hold to the dreams you have had, but to dream greater dreams than before, not only to enjoy this land and its wealth, but to make it a better place to live, and not only to take what you can from this life, but to love and give generously. I leave you with a simple Irish blessing. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm on your face, the rains fall soft upon your fields, and, until we meet again, may God hold you softly in the palm of His hand. *. Goodbye and God bless.